Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom. Thank you for joining me here in my Bolt EUV. So, I got a bit of bad news. Actually, come to think of it, I'm not sure if anything I say in this video is going to be good news. First and foremost, you guys can see that my third display is no more. And it's not by choice. It's literally sitting here in the passenger seat. If you look at this cup, the suction cup is actually still stuck to the dash mount. You can kind of see it. Sorry, I'm out of hands here. But the glue that was on that dash mount is actually here in my hand. And this little baby, I don't know if it was the cold or what, it turned into this hard, brittle, I feel like this is almost like, it has a texture of chewing gum, but it feels like a little rock. So it is what it is. I'm just gonna toss it, get a new one. But it makes me actually question the overall effectiveness of this mount if you're in the cold, because it literally just fell off. So I'm gonna have to ponder that one and think about it, but I think it's fine. I mean, I used this mount in California for the whole time that I had the Bolt EV Premier, and it did just fine. And over there, it went into, you know, cold temperatures as well, and we even drove it up into the snow once, and it seemed to survive well there. But for some reason, whatever happened today, I didn't drive this car much at all. In fact, as you can see, it's just after 10 p.m. It's 49 degrees outside. We've had a cold spell here in South Carolina for the last few days, but the vehicle itself seems to be holding up just fine. Literally, this thing is just, I don't know, it's kind of like a weird, hard, it's kind of squishy if you really force it, but it doesn't have any adhesive property anymore. It's literally just, I don't know what happened. It didn't leave much of a mark up here either. It left some that I'll clean off with some glue remover or adhesive remover, just to make sure it doesn't stain or damage the dash. But other than that, I don't know what to make of that. Kind of a bummer and a WTF all at once. It is what it is. Not worried about it. The tablet survived, but as you guys know, I was gonna look at getting a new Android tablet anyway, because I can't film that screen. It's reflective, and it's really really has a poor picture when you're shooting it with the camera during the daytime. At night it's fine, but during the day it's like, come on, I want to get some data off of it. Can't do that. So yeah, I haven't really driven the car much. I literally only did 2.3 miles on it today. It's just one of those days. I've been slammed with work. I've been doing a lot of reading and a little bit of studying here and there for some upcoming courses and tests that I need to take for my profession. But I needed to get out of the house, so here I am. You're actually finding me at our local Walmart here in Union, South Carolina. I need to pick up a few things, but I first wanted to record this video because I just discovered something. Today is March 15th, and ironically, today is the day that my 1 month free of, I guess, the data plan that came with the car has expired, even though that means it would have been a month and 2 days, because I got the car February 13th. So I don't know, don't ask me. It's probably some weird math that GM does or OnStar does, or whoever administers the data package with the car that is effectively, you know, those are the people that should be asked about that. But anyway, I decided to record this because I wanted to see and I wanted to take you guys along. I wanted to see exactly what stopped working in in the infotainment system. So I'm gonna just turn you guys this way a little bit, and I'm gonna turn this off so you guys can see the screen a little bit better. And I have to hold you kind of like this because I want to see what I'm shooting, so it's not, you know, it's not half broken. The life of an iPhone vlogger. Okay, so you're looking at basically my home screen. Also, what's this SD card has been removed? I gotta figure that out. No phone connected because I disabled Bluetooth while I was filming. But suffice it to say, energy works. That, you know, obviously it doesn't take any data to look at the state of charge. I'm assuming the nav is not working. SD card error. I guess this actually goes back to this, because this is where the map used to be. But what SD card is it talking about? I didn't remove any SD cards. And now it's not doing anything. Okay, well, let's move on. I haven't done anything with Sirius. I got a whole bunch of free Sirius XM stuff. I hardly use it. I use CarPlay for everything, so it is what it is. Let's flip over to page 2. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can actually rearrange your view just by pushing and holding. You see I just moved that over. Kind of neat. Anything that you don't want, you can just delete it. And then so you can delete Amazon Alexa and it's gone. I also don't use Spotify, but let's see if Spotify works. Oh, update Spotify. Spotify will be updated on your vehicle. Download size 20 megs. Sure. Updating Spotify. You have no data remaining on your data plan. I guess I can call OnStar, or I can connect to a Wi-Fi network. That's kind of a plus. I guess if I'm sitting someplace where I can get on the Wi-Fi, I can use Spotify. I don't have a Spotify account though, so we're just gonna purge it. Weather channel. Your OnStar data plan has ended. Push your push your blue button to purchase, or you can try connecting to a different Wi-Fi network. Okay, so there might be some functionality still here that will work with Wi-Fi. I wish more than anything that I could purge Android Auto, but that's part of the OS, so you cannot delete it. Let's see if the MyChevrolet app works. Oh, it works. And let's look at my plans, because my plans will actually show you what's currently enrolled. So Chevrolet Connected Access, active through year 2033, month February, day 12. If we did details, Chevrolet Connected Access with standard connectivity, which enables services such as vehicle diagnostics, dealer maintenance notification, smart driver, and marketplace. Cool. And then Essentials is active. It was actually active until the 12th, but it looks like it took a few days to realize that it's not the 12th of March. So March 12th, 2023. I think this is what made all those apps flip out. So charge status, plan routes, charge settings, public charging, charge notifications, remote key fob, vehicle status, vehicle locate, remote personalization, send to navigation, automatic crash response, emergency services, stolen vehicle assistance. That's a lot. That's a big chunk of features to take away from this car, and to only give you a month of that. I need to see if this affects the app. When I'm done recording this, I'll come back and I'll see if we can check the app. But that's it. I don't have anything else. Did you guys just see that 1 appear right here by the temperature? It disappeared though. Okay, so the MyChevrolet app works, and I assume obviously OnStar is going to work. Directions, hotspot, my account. Oh, that's the essentials. So that's just OnStar. So I need to see if the app is actually crippled on the phone, because that would be upsetting quite a bit if that was the case. So we'll just have to see. I'm gonna check it when I get off the phone with you guys. I'll get on it and see what's what. But for now, I'm gonna go in here and get some groceries. Oh, I guess I can share this story with you guys. This is something that happened a few hours ago. I was posting, I guess you could call it like a picture blog, kind of pictures of the Bolt EUV and a few other things that I wanted to share. It was either Instagram or Facebook. I can't remember right now. This was a few hours ago. I'm just grateful that I remembered it so I could share it with you. And I got a comment back saying, why would anybody want to... Sorry, I was just wiping off a smudge on the steering wheel. Why would anybody want to purchase an electric vehicle when they're so unreliable? They blow up in flames randomly, and so many people have problems with them. They're just not worth the hassle. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you come out an EV owner with that? It immediately put me on the defensive. Instead of having a conversation about it, instead of asking questions, you're basically barraging an owner about their vehicle instead of just saying, hey, how do you deal with this? Or how does this work? Or I'm curious, could you share with me some information? I would have been like all over it. I would have taken all the time in the world to, to explain it, to take the time and make sure that I was as articulate as I could be. I know a lot of questions stem from range anxiety. A lot of questions that I get in person, like face to face, is it expensive? That's actually one of the things that led up to that video that I made about a week or so ago with the cost, the 1,000-mile cost of ownership when it comes to the first, 3 weeks of ownership at that time. So a lot of those questions I'm pretty comfortable answering off the cuff. But if I end up in a defensive state, then I'm more upset than anything else, and I don't do a good job at explaining things. I just try to get the person off my back or whatever, or I tell them that they're driving, a hoopty, even though their car might be 80 grand or whatever. It is what it is. But the story essentially goes, I don't believe for 1 second, what was said? I don't believe for 1 second that you pay less in energy costs than I do with gasoline. First of all, this person's in California, right? So their tank of gas is like, what, $60, $80? I had to show receipts, and like I used the last 2 Electrify America receipts that I had for the DC fast charging sessions, because with an EV, those are going to be your worst rates, right? Because you're using the highest form of charging that's available to your electric vehicle. If you use level 2 or level 1, then you're dealing with per kilowatt hour rates of your home, which is much cheaper. It's the cheapest way to charge your electric vehicle. Of course, free is always good too. So if you have a free DC fast charging session, you can always go back to that person and say, hey, how many times did you get gas at Electrify America that was free? Because I guarantee you they'll look at you like you got 3 eyeballs. Yeah. So I tried to do a good job at saying, hey, just look at these receipts. I don't have to explain anything to you. They're self-explanatory. Oh, but this isn't a full charge. This is just partial. And I tried to explain how In an electric vehicle, you're no longer locked to the full tank mentality. You're locked to the destination charge mentality, where if you're on a road trip, you charge enough plus buffer to get to your next either charging hop or to your next destination. And you do that continuously until you get to where you need to go. And then you find yourself a hotel with a level 2 charger or whatever, and you charge through the night. And then you might leave the next morning with a full charge, and then you do it again. You know, if you can get 220 miles or so per charge, then you find a charger that's 195 miles out, and you show up with X amount of percentage. You charge up to whatever your state of charge. You guys know this already. You charge up to the next charger and you move on, or wherever you're going. You have to do the math in your head. You have to learn how your car behaves, and you have to be confident in the math, because the math checks out. You know, based on navigation and GPS that, you know, from here, hypothetically from here to Charlotte, North Carolina is 90 miles. And then I'm going to drive around Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm going to probably put another 12 miles on the car, so that's 102 miles. So if I need that plus the way back, that is 204 or whatever miles. And I shot a video on that, right? That's how it ended up. But the thought process was the same. It was literally like, okay, I know I'm going from here to Charlotte. The distance isn't going to change. There might be some wind. There might be some terrain. I might feel the need to pass somebody at maximum velocity, which it's easy enough to do in this car. And then, you know, you deal with that. And then there's some regen that I typically don't factor in because that's too complicated, you know, downhill slopes and stuff like that. I don't account for that. But I do account for weather. If it's clear, if it's windy, if it's you know, if it's bad visibility or it's raining or something, and you're going to be you know, running climate control to keep your windows free and clear or whatever, you obviously going to do that. But the math and the navigation always checks out. It's not like you're going to get on the road and then GPS is going to say, haha, just kidding, Charlotte's really 150 miles away from you. Haha. Like my old TomTom used to do. I had one of those little TomTom GPSs back in the 90s. It was like the first major thing I invested in when I got my first, what was it? It was a 1994 Geo Storm, bright yellow. I don't have any pictures of it, but you could probably find it online. And I remember investing in a TomTom for it. And it did that all the time. It would always recalculate your destination because it was slow, it was crappy, and it was like the initial form of navigation. This was way before smartphones. This was back when Nextel was hopping. And oh man, I miss Nextel. My BlackBerry with Nextel was just the ultimate connectivity tool. Anyway, I digress. But you're not going to have that issue now. So you know your car's performance, you know your pack size, right? You know your battery pack size, and you can figure out averages. You can use the range estimator over here, and you know, if minimum tells you have 137 miles to go, don't plan for a 200-mile trip because you're not going to get that. Plan for this number, not this number. And this one is subject to change. So, in fact, I typically take away like 10% of this. So I would only plan for a trip that's about 120 miles with my state of charge. Regardless, you know, cold weather, hot weather, I use climate control. I don't hypermile. My right foot, it's a lead brick. And trust me, the accelerator knows it. And it is what it is. You know, ultimately, everybody has to do what's right for them and to each their own. And that's it. And I really tried to take the emotion out of that conversation, but it was one of those like, you're an idiot for having spent so much money on a piece of junk car that's never going to last you. That's essentially what the conversation was. And I was so upset, you know, and everything started coming back, you know, the entire recall process, the 9 months being without a car. And it was really hard. And so I just gave up. You know, there are some people that you're not going to convince them. Just like there's people that believe the earth is flat. Just like there's people that believe we've never went to the moon. You know, I mean, it's really hard to swallow the ignorance and the insanity of some people on the face of this earth. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I'm not trying to be that guy. But trust me, when you're around people that are constantly negative, or they're pressing your buttons when it comes to, you know, decisions that you've made, I know for a fact that the best decision I ever made was to get into an electric vehicle. Because I will tell you that the amount of money that I saved by not driving my wife's car all this time, this last month and 2 days, has been astronomical. I was putting gas into her RAV4 every 2 to 3 days because I do excursions like this. It's 10:30 at night. Walmart's going to close in a half hour. Boom, let's go to Walmart. Even if all I need is like 3 bottles of water or something like that, because it's a means to an end for me when it comes to my internal healing mechanisms from the day of getting beaten down on the professional side of things. For me, walking around Walmart, I might not even buy anything. Tonight I will, because I know we have a need for some stuff. But normally it's like I just go in just to look at stuff. You know, I can't tell you how many times I found myself in the just in the computer where the electronics are, and I'm just staring at a TV with those little advertisements or whatever they have playing. I have no intention of buying it, but it's something to get your mind off of the daily grind. And, you know, it's an innocent way for me to recover from a nasty day. And I will tell you that it beats drinking, it beats smoking, it beats all the illicit medications, if you know what I'm talking about, all of that stuff, because it keeps you clean and it's relatively inexpensive. I haven't gone on a binge yet where I took, you know, the money for the mortgage of my house and I buy, you know, 3 or 4 TVs just to have. You know, I haven't gone down that hole yet. I also have a lot more self-control than that, and it takes a lot to get me to that point, and I've never gotten to that point, to be honest. But it is what it is. That conversation came and went. I try to distance myself from people like that. This person was a friend, so at some point I'll recover and I'll be like, hey, we need to revisit that conversation. So once I get my head back in order, and I'm going to explain to them that, listen, first of all, I've made some videos about this. You can watch them. If you don't want to, you know, watch the channel or whatever, then I'm going to tell you this right here, right now. And I'm going to explain to him exactly how this car works. I'm going to have him, you know, either, you know, put a tripod right here and show him everything like I am right now with you guys, all this jazz and whatnot here, explaining all this and, you know, all the impacts, how all this stuff affects it, all the range history, as well as the pretty graphics. You know, there's a ton of information here that it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a mathematician or a statistician or whatever to figure out exactly what this car can do. You know, there's your lifetime, you know, miles per kilowatt hour. Use that as your baseline, or round down, go to 3.0 miles per kilowatt hour, and then tell yourself, okay, let's say I have a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack. My efficiency is 3 miles per kilowatt hour. Let's see. I believe I can ask Edward, my son, what 3 times 60 is. You already know the numbers are bigger, so you know you can go more than 180 miles on the state of charge. You know, on 100% state of charge. So take it for what it's worth. I'm not sure why I wanted to share this story. I just wanted to see, more than anything, if you guys get these kind of questions, comments. Do people like attack you for having an electric vehicle? Is there a certain way you handle it? Or do you just let them go and let bygones be bygones? Because for me, it's like I feel the need to grab them by their shirt, slam them into the hood of the car, and be like, yo, listen, this is what you're not getting. This is what you don't understand. And this is how just the general idiotism spreads, right? Because it's one person telling another person, telling another person, telling another person. And then you have a whole group of people that think the earth is flat. Or that we never went to the moon. Or that charging electric vehicles costs more than filling up, what was it? What does he have? A Ford F-150? Not the Lightning? Oh, God. I certainly hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for the support on Eddie's reward video yesterday. I did pass on some of the comments. I showed him, I let him read some of the messages that you guys have sent, and he was really happy. He said, Daddy, let's do it again. I said, well, then get some more awards in school, get some more recognition. So I think he's looking forward to his next little video debut, and I hope you guys don't mind. Anyway, that's all I got for the night. I hope you guys go down below and further the conversation. You guys know I love chatting with you guys and hearing what you guys have to say. So that's it. Until next time, have a good evening. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. So you guys can see the EUV right behind me. I'm actually going to use my Apple Watch to start the car. Let's see if it'll take it. Boom, there it goes. Functionality is there. I like it. You guys know how I feel about OnStar. Take care.